Okay, let's go over a few things that hopefully you learned through that activity. First thing I'm hoping you noticed is because that radius was 1, the sine of the angle theta was always equal to the y value. The cosine of the angle theta was always equal to the x value. And then the tangent of the angle theta is always equal to y over x. In other words, the sine over the cosine. Okay. So we can quickly look at our unit circle, and we can get from our coordinates of x and y the sine, cosine, and tangent. Okay. I would highly encourage you to take the time to download a blank unit circle and fill it in. I think taking the time through that process, you're going to notice a lot of patterns in your unit circle that you wouldn't notice if you just always used the one that's provided here. And it is an activity that we would have done had we been all together in class. So here's our completed unit circle. You can see some of those special right triangles. Okay, here would be that 30, 60, 90. So there's that 30 right there. We can see the 45, 45 right triangle coming up right there and down and so on all the way around your unit circle. Let's look for some patterns in here. So first thing I'm noticing is these 45s. We always have that square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so that means when we have the tangent of those different angle measurements, we'll always have a tangent that's equal to 1 or negative 1. Speaking of 1 or negative 1, everything in this first quadrant is positive. So we have a positive sine, a positive cosine, and a positive tangent. But when we get over here to quadrant 2, notice all of those blue values, the x values are negative. So we just have a positive sine. And we'll also have a negative tangent because it'll be sine divided by cosine. So a positive divided by a negative is still negative. Over here, sine is negative, cosine is negative, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So tangent will be positive in our third quadrant. And then our final quadrant, we can see that only the blue values are positive. And so that means that what will be positive here will just be the cosine. There's little tricks to memorizing this. Some people say all students take calculus. So notice all things are positive in the first quadrant. So all students take calculus. You've got the STC. So it's just a fun little trick. There's also lots of fun and unique things you can do to try to memorize all of these parts of the unit circle, and really all you're memorizing is this first quadrant. In Algebra 2, you won't have to memorize the unit circle. You most likely will in pre-calc. All right, you did some practice with this already in the Desmos activity, and let's do a little bit more. We're going to find the cosine of 225 degrees, and we will use our unit circle that we have right here. Okay, so the cosine of 225 degrees, I'm going to erase all of these things that I have written near the border at least. Okay, so 225 degrees is right here. And the cosine is the x value. And so the x value I see with that angle measurement is negative square root of 2 over 2. So that's it. So I can just say the cosine of 225 degrees is negative square root of 2 over 2. Let's do letter B. Let's do the tangent. This time we're looking for 5 pi over 6. 5 pi over 6 is less than 1 pi, so I know I'm going to be up in these first two quadrants. 5 pi over 6 is right here. The tangent is the sine divided by the cosine. So I'm going to have 1/2 divided by negative square root of 3 over 2. 1/2 divided by negative square root of 3 over 2. Remember, to divide fractions, we actually multiply by the reciprocal. So this is 1/2 times 2, oops, divided by the square root of 3. 2 over 2 is just 1. 1 over the square root of 3. And I lost my negative along the way there, so let me put that back in. We all know that we cannot leave our answer like this. We can't have a radical in the denominator. Let's change this to simplest radical form. So I have my -1 over the square root of 3. I need to multiply numerator and denominator by the square root of 3. Then I'll have a negative square root of 3 over 3. That is the tangent of 5 pi over 6. Tangent is the only one that's going to take work. All the other ones we'll just read right from our circle. And you will notice some patterns even when you start working with tangent more and more often. I'd like you to pause the video at this time, finish up those next 3 examples, and come back and check your answers. Okay, here are the answers for those last 3 examples. We have the sine of 315 degrees is negative square root of 2 over 2. The tangent of 180 is 0, and the cosine of 4 pi over 3 is negative 1/2. Watch out for your tangent. In that case, our tangent was 0. But if we come over here, remember, if we're dividing by 0, we would say it's undefined. So, for example, right here, the sine of 90 degrees, okay, I would take, or I'm sorry, the tangent of 90 degrees, sine divided by cosine, 1 divided by 0, is undefined. So, for tangent on these 4 places, you're going to end up with either a 0 or undefined, so pay attention to that. Okay, last thing here. How can we apply what we know about reference angles to help me find my trig functions? Okay, so what we can do is we can use this idea that we talked about just shortly before this, okay, about the different signs of your different trig functions in the different quadrants. Okay, what's positive, what's negative, and we can just apply the correct sign to what we're seeing in the first quadrant. All right, so let's just try one. First thing we're going to do is find the sine, cosine, and tangent of 330 degrees. And we're going to do this using a reference angle. So if I draw this out, 330 degrees, I would start here, whoops, and I'd go all the way around right there. That's 330 degrees. But we learned that a reference angle is a positive angle that's formed by the terminal side and the x-axis. So here's my x-axis, here's my terminal side. I would have a reference angle of 30 degrees. So we can just look at that 30-degree part of our unit circle and not have to be looking all over the place. So flip back to our unit circle. Here's 30 degrees right here. I know my sine is 1/2. My cosine is square root of 3 over 2. So sine is 1/2. Cosine, square root of 3 over 2. But remember, what we're trying to focus on right now is we're using this knowledge of the 30 degree in the first quadrant, but we're applying it to the fourth quadrant. What is it that's positive in the fourth quadrant? Let's think. All students take calculus. C, that's the only thing that's positive in this quadrant. So that means that the sine is actually going to be negative, so I'm going to put a negative there. Cosine's positive. Our tangent will be negative. Tangent of 330 degrees is sine divided by cosine. Divide means to multiply by the reciprocal. Hey, we did this one before. I remember when we did this one, I got square root of 3 over 3. So I'm going to use what I remember of these patterns and write that down. All right, so those are my 3 solutions. There's my tangent, my cosine, and my sine. Let's try it with a couple other ones. 11 pi over 6. All right, remember this is 2 pi all the way around. So 11 pi over 6 is just 1 pi over 6 away from being 2 pi over 6. So this angle, 11 pi over 6, is right over here. And what's left right here is pi over 6. So that's the one we need to grab from our unit circle, pi over 6. Hey, that's 30 degrees. That's the one we just did. Well, we probably don't need to rewrite all of those. But let's check this one. 30 degrees. Negative 30 degrees. What's the difference between a positive angle of rotation and negative? The direction it goes. So negative 30 degrees drops down 30 right there. The reference angle is always positive 30 degrees. Well, we already know what it is for 30 degrees. We just did it, okay? All right, so let's actually try another one. This time I'm going to ask each of you, and again, to pause the video, and I want you to find, using reference angles, what is the sine, cosine, and tangent of 270 degrees. So you're going to find the sine, cosine, tangent of 270. So draw it out, figure out what your reference angle is, and try to just get all the information you need from right here. Then you can just look at your unit circle and check it. Go to the 270 and check it. All right, let's show you the work for that. Here it is. We've got our reference angle is going to just be 90 degrees. We know at that point our sine is going to be negative, the cosine is positive, tangent is negative when we're down here at that bottom. And so we can get everything we need from 90 degrees. All right, one important takeaway today. What are radians? Why do we use them? They are a unit of measure based on arc length, and we use them because they're actually easier. Think about inches and then also our metric system. Okay, so inches we have to divide by 12. When we're using the imperial system, we also have to think about ounces. There's 8 ounces in a cup. How many pints are in a gallon? Okay, it gets pretty complex. With the metric system, it's all factors of 10. It's much simpler. It's a little bit harder for us because we're not as used to it, but the basics behind it are much simpler than the basics behind the imperial system. All right, you have homework. Do your best. And then come prepared on Tuesday with some questions about the unit circle.